So Richie, I mean, it's a pleasure to meet you as well here too. So welcome into the booth, and I guess tell us a little bit about Tive for those that might not be familiar.
Yeah, we're a company that tries to help other companies get goods from point A to point B. We believe more freight should arrive on time and in full, and so we have IoT devices and technology that's designed to help raise awareness of where freight is located and the conditions that it's in while it's in transit, so that people can know more about what's going on and help more of their freight get where it's supposed to be.
Are your Ty, are these trackers then?
They are. So it's a physical IoT tracker device.
Now, are these are any of them single use, or some of them can be put in a loop where they can get them back?
Both. So yeah, we do have some customers that, because of the nature of the move, they're disposable. They're one-time use, and they can't get them back. And we understand that that's needed for certain types of moves. But we have a green program, so customers that are able to use them one time and just return them back to us. We cover the shipping for the returns and offer a credit for people to get as many devices back to us as we can, so we can refurbish them and put them back in. And they are rechargeable, so we do have some customers, like you said, that are able to work out the reverse logistics and the recharging and kind of keep them going in a loop like that. So that's ideal as well.
That's amazing. What are some of the touch points that a typical tracker would tell us about, such as GPS location is one, temperature?
Yeah, so the tracker is going to do location three ways, so cellular triangulation, Wi-Fi positioning, and GPS. It's also measuring temperature, humidity. There's a shock sensor, so we can tell you if there is impact, and then if how many G's, how hard of an impact was it? Did it come from the sides or up or down? And then there's a light sensor that can tell us when the doors are being opened to a truck. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it's all that information gives you a lot of understanding of what's happening, and you can control the settings on how frequent you want that information, control your battery life, turn GPS on and off to conserve battery life, and we try to give our customers as much control as possible over all of that.
Do you think it's good or bad that the driver knows that that's on there? Because I know some customers might say, I don't want him to know, I want to put this on top of one of the crates where they can't see it. And I don't know, I'm guessing once you start it, you have 15 seconds to close the doors when it gets dark. I don't know how it works exactly.
Yeah, the tracker records everything all the time, and then you can set up alerts around specific parameters about, like, if I get a light alert while it's in transit, I want to know. I don't care so much about light when it's being loaded, because it should have light, right?
It better have light. Trouble there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess unless it's a lights out warehouse, right? But so I mean, it's very interesting. So now the tracker goes with the cargo itself, or it goes with the trailer?
It goes on the cargo, and that allows. We have some customers we'll track over the road in Asia from a factory to a port, and then we'll track the vessel over the ocean, and then we still have the tracker that's tracking the freight through the dray move, through the cross dock, through the intermodal or the long haul truckload move to a final destination. We can maintain this visibility of that freight all the way through and never lose sight of it.
So that would be internal, then inside the freight type of thing. You could do that where, let's say it's shipping from Shanghai, and it's inside this crate that's this size. It's gonna give you updates while it's on the water.
So on the ocean, there's no cell service yet. So we'll track the actual vessel through a container ID. But there's about the size of a deck of cards. So
is that it?
That's it. And you can. We have some customers that'll put it on the pallet. We have some customers who will hide a second one inside of a box for a security purpose or something like that. So
interesting. Yeah. So very small. I mean, very small but very powerful. It looks like. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting. I mean, I'm curious, like, as you've implemented this for customers, I mean, what are some of the maybe most interesting findings that some of the customers have found?
Yeah, so one cool story is we have an electronics customer, and they were putting devices on there for security reasons, right? Several $100,000 of product in the back of these trucks. And they were moving a cross-country move, and they had 30-minute settings. So they have the device set to wake up every 30 minutes and check its location and temperature, and every 30 minutes send information into the cloud. However, the light alert's immediate. So they got a light alert, and they went into our system. They turned on a satellite view. They changed the settings to 5-minute intervals. They turned GPS on to find out exactly where it was located. And they saw us in the middle of a field, so they called us and like, "Is something weird going on with your tractor?" And we're like, "Well, no. You should get off the phone with us, and you should go call somebody about this and look into this." So they did it. They were the ones who
Check
went
with their carrier and then
checked with the carrier, got law enforcement involved. By the time law enforcement showed up, there were 2 trucks in that field. They were loading freight out of one into another.
Oh, wow.
And
The old spot.
they were able to catch them, recovered all the freight. So that was a cool story, to see.
Needless to say, that paid for itself.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
So,
I'm sure.
What is are there different levels of battery life, or do you
So
have
there's
one
2.
type of thing, or what would this cost? And I'm guessing if you buy one, it costs something, but if you buy 25, it costs less, and if you buy 100, it costs even less.
If you buy 1,000,000, it costs even less.
Yeah.
There's your tip.
You
Buy a million.
it's going to make some money.
No, but great question. So the cost is just based on whether it's single use or reuse, and looking at all of that. And remind me of the first question that you asked. Volume. The volumes can range. It just depends. We have a whole matrix for that, so we can look at what your needs are for the year and find the right solution for you.
Interesting. So are you seeing that like a shipper will just put one of these in every single load that they send out, or is it just like specific loads? I mean, where is kind of that level right now?
Yeah, it depends on the freight, right? It depends on the circumstance. The big buckets that we find people using these types of trackers for are, anything cold chain, so produce, food. There's regulatory purposes for having temp monitoring on all your freight. Pharmaceuticals is also a regulatory purpose there for having temp monitor on vaccines. So we track a lot of pharmaceuticals as well. And then high value freight, things that are high sensitivity freight, so anything that's high value or
Attractive items.
Right.
Yeah.
So like that things that are high theft risk and that sort of thing. So those are big buckets for us, and the applications are a bit different for each, and how many devices you would use, whether you would use a lithium battery device or a non-lithium battery device. We have both. There's pros and cons to each. We kind of scope out like what is the cargo, how are we going to utilize this technology in the best possible way for that, and go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's such a great technology, and being able to have that level of visibility and insight. And, I think we were talking earlier to another guest about visibility overall, and it's obviously such a huge buzzword in the industry, right? But you get this kind of sensor, and you're able to have that true visibility, really. So it's very interesting to learn about this. And I'm curious, like, how do you see the technology progressing, like, into the future?
Yeah, so I think like the market is going towards the direction of IoT devices, and visibility is a big buzzword, right? And it's I like the word awareness better. Like, just raise your awareness and automate that awareness to the best that you can, and then you're better prepared. But the nice thing about IoT devices is that they are a very strong source of data, and they're dependable, reliable, and you're going to get good, clean data. So any sort of data science from a network optimization standpoint is only as strong as the inputs. Like bad inputs in, regardless of what kind of fancy data science you have, like it can only do so much. So I think a lot of people are recognizing that now and seeing IoT devices as a very dependable source of good, clean data. And so as the components and the price of these devices go down, as people start getting more value out of the aggregated data on the back end, I think the market's going to move this direction.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, it's a very, very interesting technology, and definitely looking forward to seeing how it continues to progress. And it's providing like so many great insights. I mean, I love the light one. I think that's fantastic. I mean, I think that's so great, and the story you told too. Curious here at the show at Manifest, or just in the market in general, what kind of technologies are standing out to you or exciting for you?
Yeah, there's a lot of great tech here, and I think the technologies that are helping solve today's problems and building redundancies, that there's kind of the JIT mindset for a lot of supply chain professionals that was kind of dominant for a long time until the pandemic, and now it's
JIC.
Yeah, JIC. Like,
Just in case.
what do we do if it all hits the fan again? And so seeing different technologies that are redundant and how companies are building tech stacks that are layering strategic technologies on top of one another is pretty cool. So I think a lot of companies are recognizing that trend, and it's cool to see how all of us are starting to work together more and more partnerships and learning how we can link together to drive more value and help make things a little bit better.
We talked about that as well with one of our previous guests, and it does seem like there's a real sense of community within this space here at Manifest, where I came out of the trade show world. I worked in trade show logistics for 12 years, and in different shows with different technologies. And there's other companies that make these, and it seems like there's still no bad blood. People still want to work together. They want to share. They want things to be better. A couple of the things that I've seen, one of the big things this show for me, I've seen a lot of stuff for sustainability, which is something that's it's going to take some time to really get that going, but it's something that everyone cares about. So that's one of the big buzz things I've really seen a lot of here at the show.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's super interesting, and seeing those different technologies kind of come together and have that collaborative aspect, I think is really a great thing, because you can, most companies can be good at one thing and then they try to maybe do everything and it doesn't go so great, right? So if you have those right partners and those collaborative partners, I think it helps just everybody on the customer side and user side so much more. So very interesting stuff with you here, Richie, and learning about Tive. If people want to buy 1 million of these things from you, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, tive.com. My email address is richie.daigle@tive.com. And you can find me on LinkedIn as well. So anyway, just come to the website, email me, LinkedIn, any kind of way. We're here to help companies kind of raise that awareness and help freight get where it's supposed to be.